All right, dudes, or dudettes or whatever. Let's go ahead and get this wrapped up. We're gonna finish up this great app in this video, so let's do that. And we're gonna move kind of fast because time is of the essence. So what we're gonna do is, because weather is a variable that represents forecast day, which, as you know, is an array, we're going to go ahead and iterate each element inside of that array. And we do that by using the for each method that is supplied by JavaScript. If you don't know how that works, I suggest you go watch a video on JavaScript arrays. Yeah. Okay. And what we're going to do is say forecast. Okay, if I could type equals forecast.concat, because concat actually returns a new array and doesn't affect the original array. So forecast equals forecast.concat, and we're going to go ahead and put in the data that we want to pass down to the actual React Native JSX. So again, like I said, I already know the data structure, and you could have looked through it if you wanted to. Element is just a representation of this with a specific number in the square brackets here, which actually would be index. So index right now is 0, and the next iteration 1, then 2, then 3. So that would be a total of 4 iterations. All right, so I'm going to set it up to where we have a couple of objects inside here, just so that it looks cleaner on the React Native side. And so I'm going to have an object of temperature with another object of high, which will have 2 properties, Fahrenheit, and it's going to be element.high.Fahrenheit. So really what I'm doing is kind of matching how the data structure looks inside of the returned value by the API. So sometimes I can't talk and think at the same time because I can't chew bubble gum and walk down the street, for example. So if I kind of pause for a second, it's because I'm trying to think about what I'm doing and I don't want to steer you guys in the wrong direction. I also sometimes babble, which is what I'm doing right now. It's babbling. So yeah. All right, so that's it for the temperature object. We're going to have a conditions variable, which is just going to have that sort of string that says clear or partly cloudy or something to that effect. I want to have another object called wind, which will have just 2 properties. It's going to be miles per hour, and we get that by the average wind.miles per hour value. And I also want the direction, which will be the average wind dot direction value. Let's go ahead and save that. Make sure we don't have any problems. Okay, we don't. And let's see. We need 2 more things. It's going to be average humidity. I don't really want to display the high humidity and the low humidity because that stuff's not really that important. So we'll do av humidity, and then we will do finally the icon URL, which will be just element.icon_URL. So great, we have our entire data structure, and what's happening again is each time we loop through one of the forecast days, we are going to set forecast equal to the current forecast plus a new array, which is what the concat is. And of course that array is a single contains a single object, which is this overarching object. And we have in there the date, temperature, which is an object, conditions, which is just a key value pair, and wind, also an object, average humidity, and icon URL. So after we're done looping through here, what we're going to do is go ahead and do this dot set state, and this is what I was telling you earlier, and we're going to assign days to, we're going to assign forecast to days. So now when we refresh the app, this dot state dot days will actually contain all of the data that forecast it contains. So this forecast array is now also in this dot state dot days. Okay. Now, to be smart about this, we actually do really need to go ahead and capture some error stuff. So I'm going to do catch, and we're going to provide an anonymous function that basically just logs the error. We're not doing anything too fancy with it, but still, I want it in there so that the app doesn't crash. Better to just log the error, and we'll see it when we get there. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and make our the actual layout for the app that's going to display everything, and we're going to do that using a thing that I haven't actually showed you yet. You remember I told you the curly brackets are how you put JavaScript onto the screen. And what we're going to do is we're going to iterate the objects inside of this.state.days and print out JSX based on the values in those objects. Okay, so we're going to do this.state.days.map. Now, map is a really cool function, and basically it just iterates over all of the values of the provided array, which in this case is days, and allows you to return a method or JSX or another array or really whatever you want. And so that what we're going to do is we're going to be returning a bunch of JSX. Okay, so element comma index is the way that the function that gets the anonymous function that gets called is structured. And so what that's going to mean is element will be the actual element in days, and index will be the index of the object that we're currently working on, which is basically the same thing that it would have been if we were working in, say, like the for each method that we had before. So it's really nothing new. All right, now let's go ahead and let's start with a view. And typically, the map function requires that when you return something, it has a unique identifier. And so what we're going to do is we are just going to use the index and set that to the key because that is a unique value for each of the iterations. The style might possibly be better served putting in the style object, but I'm just going to do it in line for the sake of time and for the sake of what we're doing here. Okay. I also want to set justify content to center and align items to center, and we didn't go too far into that really. But that's more just flexbox stuff or flex layout stuff. And what that does is justify content, like I said, is left to right for center, and align items is top to bottom center, so that it'll really be whatever's inside here will be right smack dab in the middle of the container. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. Container. All right, so we seem to be having an issue here. Let me get rid of that. That was weird. And let us see. It says we have an unexpected comma and that we expected something else. And the reason for that is because I have this extra parentheses in here, which is making the function look weird. Now, on 84, we are expecting a comma. And that's because we need to go ahead and close out the map function. And voila, we're good to go. Now, as you can see, we're just returning 4 small boxes, and that's because there's 1 box per element in the array that we're mapping. Okay, so fantastic. Let's go ahead and start putting some stuff in here. What do you think? We're going to start off with our image, and I know I haven't used the image tag before with you guys, but I'm confident that you'll understand how it works. Just like every other property or component that comes with React, there is a style prop, which you can fill. And the more important one for the image is the source property, which takes a value, or a key name of URI, and then a value of whatever string you decide to use. In this case, I'm going to use element.url. And what that's going to do is say that we need an image that's 50 wide by 50 tall, and it's going to be of the element.iconURL, which is just that link that I showed you in the last video. So as you can see, we've got 4 different images, which means it's clear today, clear the next day, clear the next day, and then partly cloudy the day after that. Okay? So I'll start adding some text in here. And, let's start with, let's say the summary. So we'll do element.conditions, and we'll do this, blah, blah, blah. And now we've got, as you can see, we got the little image there, and then we have the summary of what the conditions are outside. Next, we'll do temperature. Temperature sounds good to me. And we'll do high.Fahrenheit and maybe put an F there, and then do that little straight up and down bar, the pipe, if you will, and do temperature.high.Celsius. And the reason that we do that is so that we kind of show both of them on the same line. That way, if you'd rather see it in Celsius, it's there. If you'd rather see it in Fahrenheit, it's there. And then, of course, we'll just duplicate the code here for the low temperature. And so it's It's looking pretty fancy, I think. You know, like I said, not the greatest UI developer in the world, if you can't tell, but not bad either. I don't think so. I do want to go ahead and let's put some extra text in here just to make it kind of more obvious to which is which. You know, high versus low, and voila. Now we know what temperature we're looking at. And let's go ahead and put the wind in here too. And we'll do element dot wind dot direction at element dot wind dot mph, and then the actual word mph, and when that. And what that's going to do is just say the direction. So it's east at whatever speed it is. In this case, it's southwest at 12 miles an hour. And I think that looks, pretty not bad. This last text, what we're going to do is have the date. And in order to distinguish which one is which, I'm going to have it just be slightly bolder. And to do that, we're going to use font weight of 900, which is not over 9,000. When I kind of wish it was, so I could say that, but it's not. So there we go. Now you can see the day, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, is in bold, so it's a little easier to see. And you might recall that previously one of the things that we had done was, if you happen to remember the way it originally looked, is that the background color of the boxes were white. So we'll add that in, and that's background color white. Boom. And then the boxes were actually a bit wider, and we can do that by setting, say, let's just do 400, a static value. We could say even 300. Okay, and so that looks pretty good, but it may not necessarily look the same on all of them. I mean, they are technically pixel density independent, but it's the consistent user experience you want should be orientation independent. So that's what I was trying to look for. So what we're actually going to do is use the require command, and we're going to import dimension. You know what? No, that's not the right way to do this. That is a way we can do it, but let's just do it the right way and just import dimensions from React Native, and then we'll go down here and we will just use dimensions. Dimensions is a really cool tool that allows us to get the dimensions of something, in this case the window, and we'll do that by using dimensions.get window, and then we can look at the width or the height or whatever we want. So what this is saying is, get the window width and set that to the width, and then so as you can see there, the full width. And I think what I actually did was divide that by 1.25. Okay, great. So now it's a nice, like 80-ish%. And then if we rotate left, it stays pretty consistent. So I think it looks pretty good. I mean, granted, it doesn't scroll, but that's because we haven't used the list view. And we'll eventually do that other stuff anyway. Okay, great. So we have this awesome weather app that only tells us 4 days, including today, worth of weather based on a zip code that we set up here. And so I happen to know Orlando is 32828. So when I change the zip code, hey, look at that. We got some different values here. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's actually a real place. Awesome. So that shows different values. So you can change it. And here's my challenge to you guys. I have two challenges. One, I would love to see you guys make a different style for this and post some pictures of the way that you did it, so that we can see how it looks and how creative you can be. And two, sort of the expert homework, if you will, is I want you to put an input box at the bottom or the top or really wherever you want, where you can type in any zip code you want and have the weather information update based on the zip code that you put there. All right. So again, this is Josh from CodeFrag, and I really appreciate you guys watching all my videos here. Please like the video, comment if you have any questions. I definitely will help you out. Subscribe to the channel. I mean, that helps me out just about more than anything else. If you really like these videos, consider visiting patreon.com/programming and becoming a patron on there. Or if you really, really like me, just kidding, nobody really likes me, but I actually have some apps on the iOS App Store that are written exclusively in React Native, and you can see them by visiting the link in the description that says App Store link. All right, guys, thanks for visiting, and trust me, many, many more videos to come. Out.